Welcome to the Citizen Arts podcast, San Francisco. Poster child for big city decline or vibrant, iconic city by the bay. Yeah, I'm thinking about a recent headline in the national media. It was something like this: San Francisco's declining. Well, decline it's a warning to other cities. I'm wondering, is the lady by the bay, is she weeping? Has she really become the poster child for decay and crime and drugs and other things bad wrought by those libs who run big cities across America? Haven't been here for quite some time. I've heard a lot about it from people in other parts of California and elsewhere, and it's almost all negative. Have they actually been here recently, or are they feeding back the headlines? Can it be such a disaster? Over the next few days, I'll be with some people who know the city well. They'll guide me around, they'll tell me what they think, help me get a snapshot of some of the city's most well-known neighborhoods. I've always admired San Francisco. It's truly a different, remarkable place. But I can't help feeling some dread about this trip. What's happened? Well, one thing I can say as I approach the city is there's a lot of traffic, crazy traffic. I think I was expecting a dead zone. Interesting, you come in on Route 101, which is a major highway, and it abruptly ends, and you're down in the city streets, and you're trying to get over to the Golden Gate Bridge, which is near where I'm meeting Stan, and I have no idea where I'm going. I'm sure the people who live here like that they don't have this highway cutting more deeply through the city, as has happened in other cities. New Orleans comes to mind, and in some ways New York City, Boston. Hi, Stan.
Hi, Jim.
I made it.
You did, and welcome to amazing San Francisco.
Stan, I gotta say right off, first impressions, I'm not seeing Armageddon, which is what I expected.
Of course not. Like so many cities, it has lost some business from COVID and from Amazon, all that kind of stuff. I don't think it's any worse off than other downtowns, and most of San Francisco is thriving.
I was just down in the central coast of California, and I told friends I was coming up here, and they said to me, holy mackerel, you're not going to believe it. People sleeping in the streets, it's filthy. The city has so declined, they won't go there. They're afraid to go.
Well, it's too bad, because that's a myth. We had homeless people before troubles with COVID, and it's a sanctuary city. We're nice to people who have difficulties, and so they come here, but it's not overrun or anything like that. It's just certain neighborhoods, they were crummy before COVID, but most neighborhoods are fine. Downtown is vibrant, and there's great theater. I think it's not getting what it deserves.
Why would people assume it's so bad?
Maybe it's the liberal politics. There's an element of truth that the bad areas of San Francisco are still bad.
Why do you think the media has such animus?
Animus? You scare me sometimes. I think maybe the right-wingers are envious.
It's not just right-wing media holding San Francisco up as the poster city of decline. It's coming from progressives as well.
Yeah, from outside the Bay Area. People who haven't been here or just come in for dinner. They ought to spend some time here.
We've been driving around for probably an hour, and I think I'd forgotten about the scale of this city. Not vertical like New York or to some degree Chicago. It's got a low profile and lack of density. It's got a city feel, but it doesn't have the congestion that can come with that. Paris comes to mind, also mostly a lower profile city, but it is a very congested city. Why? I think it's because there's an enormous amount of street level business, much more than I'm seeing here. A lot of gay pride flags.
Yeah, it's common knowledge, right? San Francisco's a place people feel comfortable letting you know who they are. We're coming into Seacliff. It's a wealthy area, really lovely homes.
Geez, they sure are.
Block after block, different feel.
Yeah.
I imagine this is pretty pricey.
I'd say the smaller homes are around 3 million and they go up to probably 20 million.
Who owns these places? Is this absentee ownership?
No, these are just wealthy San Francisco residents, lawyers, doctors. Robin Williams had a home here.
What about the tech bros?
Oh, I'm sure the tech folks are out here, lots of them.
We're, what, 30, 40 minutes from Silicon Valley?
Yep, that's right.
This looks like more of a young professionals neighborhood.
Yes, young, and probably 40 or 50% Asian.
We're passing a Vietnamese place.
It is Vietnamese, yeah.
Vietnamese, yeah.
Stan, is that pho or pho?
It's pho.
Pho?
As far as I know, it's pho.
So we're going to a pho place? But what if it turns out to be pho? Will they let us in?
Only if it's phony.
It's a phone.
You're too clever.
Hi. Good, how are you? What's your name?
My name is Burke. What's your name?
Stan and Jim.
Stan and Joe, nice to meet you.
This is a really important question.
Yes.
Is it pho or pho?
It's fun. Yeah.
You're right.
I was right.
He's always been right. Our whole lives. He's my cousin.
That's true also.
Have you lived around here a long time?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm from New York. He's local. And I was told when I told people I was coming here to San Francisco that this place is in really bad shape. What's your experience?
So it's definitely gotten better. I think what was really bad was like during the pandemic. That's when everyone was kind of staying home. And then afterwards, like a lot of people were breaking into cars. But then SFPD started doing like undercover work. And then so they had like these bait cars. And then so they would like end up like catching them. I've had like an undercover cop come there once. And he's like looking around like for people breaking windows.
In your neighborhood, your business, you haven't been personally affected.
We have, during the pandemic, we had a lot of people breaking windows and broke into businesses to try to steal stuff. Yeah, we were affected by that, but now it's gotten better.
You don't feel threatened walking around the streets? Are there areas of the city?
I mean, I'd say I was afraid of like going to downtown because there was a lot of homeless there, but then London Breed.
She was the mayor, London Breed.
Yeah, London Breed was the previous mayor, and then she got kicked out. But then during that time, I think she was fighting for re-election. So then they took all the homeless people and their belongings, like they grabbed everything and they brought it to the shelter saying that if you wanted to get it back, you have to go to the shelters.
Why did they throw her out?
Because she was mayor for a long time in San Francisco, just kind of deteriorated. And I think that's when the voters started being like, we need change, and that's why they voted for Lurie, Daniel Lurie. Yeah.
We have high hopes Lurie is going to continue to turn the city around.
Yeah, already. Because San Francisco is doing a lot of like small business grants and like providing like incentives for it, especially in downtown. So right now we have like, they're opening new restaurants, trying to bring them back. And then Daniel Lurie, he kind of like made it a point to have 24/7 police presence.
I'm glad to hear that it's getting better.
I feel like now it is picking up.
Well, thank you. Appreciate you. That Vietnamese meal we just had was really
Amazing.
It was amazing. Best I've had in a while, and meeting Burke, terrific guy. But it's going to take me a while, ego-wise, to deal again with you one-upping me with the name. It's pho and it's not faux.
Well, you have lots to learn, Jim.
Well, I keep trying, but I always thought there'd be a point at which I could at least get to your level, but it ain't going to happen.
Well, my level keeps increasing all the time. We're on Geary Street now, which is maybe the longest street in San Francisco because it goes from the ocean pretty much all the way to the bay.
Which ocean are we talking about out here?
That's the Pacific Ocean.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The Atlantic Ocean's on the other side of the country, Jim.
Right.
And
He's always been this way, folks.
this road is probably, I'd say, 5 to 6 miles long. And it's entirely, commercialized. Lots of shops and restaurants, hardware stores, drugstores, markets. A main thoroughfare. And it'll bring us all the way to downtown.
Okay. I read a book recently that talks about how San Francisco lost its way due to one-party rule.
Yeah.
Powers became entrenched. Things didn't change. The powers that be kept it the way the powers wanted it to be. The book presented San Francisco as a model
of how that happens. I've heard about that in other cities, like Chicago, of course, and Boston. New York probably less so because New York is so chaotic politically. Yeah, totally. And we've had Republicans and Democrats. I mean, any city that can have Ed Koch, Rudy Giuliani, and Eric Adams has got to have a split personality, right? What's your sense of that?
Well, I think it's true that it's a liberal democratic city. It's entrenched, and I mean, liberal is an understatement. So yes, it became victim of its own habits.
Its own habits. And do you think there's a possibility that, as we've seen happening in greater degree around the country, that there could be a shift of some sort to the right in this city? Is it already happening?
I think it has happened, and now it's just moderately liberal.
It's moderately liberal.
But it's still definitely liberal.
What brought you to San Francisco? I mean, you're an East Coast guy.
I went to graduate school at UC Berkeley to get my master's degree in engineering. And, once you get here, it's impossible to go back. It's just too great. It's just beautiful, and I think I'll live in paradise. Well, the winter, it's cool. Actually, San Francisco summers, who was it?
Mark Twain.
Mark Twain said the coldest winter I ever experienced was a summer in San Francisco. And it's not too inaccurate. It's partly cloudy and in the 50s and 60s until you get to the Indian summer, maybe September.
But it doesn't get an inordinate amount of rain.
No, not much rain. It's mostly fog. Rain is rare in San Francisco from May till September, maybe October.
Is there still a what we call an edgy kind of
North Beach?
North Beach?
Yeah. North Beach is this famous area. It's where the Carol Doda strip club was 40 years ago.
Why is Carol Doda particularly famous?
You have to ask.
Well, clearly I do.
She would come down from the ceiling while standing on a piano. This is in a bar. And she would start singing. And when the top half of her left the ceiling, she wasn't wearing anything up there. And she was a large-breasted woman.
Did you see this performance?
I actually did see it once. And the Condor Club was supposed to be the first place in the world for topless and bottomless bar entertainment, starring Miss Doda. Topless around 1964 and bottomless around 69. I looked that up just for you.
Yeah, I'm wondering what's become of this used to be, I think, if not the top, one of the top convention cities.
I have to make a left here.
Well, whether they've been scared away by all the bad talk.
I think they've suffered, but I'm sure that the city is providing incentives for conventions, because once you get here, it's great.
There's another one of those self-driving
Waymo
vehicles. Yeah. I'm curious about the Waymos. When you get into it, does it talk to you? It must talk to you. Hi, how
I
you
don't
doing?
know.
Where you want to go? Well, I like to go with, how about the seashore? What seashore? We don't have any seashore here. We have a bay. You want to go by the bay? Yeah, you got a big mouth for a robot. I just had a conversation with you.
You did?
And you're my robot.
Oh my God, I'm your robot today.
Yeah, you're my
Robot driver.
Yeah.
This is the heart of Soma, south of Market. Not far from the ballpark, the Oracle part where the Giants play, not the 49ers. The 49ers play down the peninsula in Santa Clara, actually.
Really?
Yeah, they don't play in the city. I just did a New York driver thing.
Yep, he did an illegal U-turn, folks. Good for you. There's another one.
Yeah, we're right behind a Waymo.
This is probably the 10th or 15th we've seen.
Yeah.
They're all over the place.
They are.
It's a very interesting vehicle. It's got some sensors all around it. And up on top, it's got this spinning device. Maybe it's a radar kind of thing.
Yes. Camera.
Going on, and cameras, and we're waving to it. Yeah, and it's a Jaguar.
Signal.
Jaguar.
Yes.
And we're not sure, we will check this, but we think that Waymo is part of Google. An SF note. Indeed, Waymo is Google's driverless vehicle business.
Now we're going to hit the bay, the San Francisco Bay, and we'll take that up toward Fisherman's Wharf.
This area's been completely redeveloped.
Yeah, it's nice and modern.
Yeah, modern condo residences down by the waterfront street.
Here's the headquarters of Levi Strauss.
Isn't the mayor connected to that family?
Could be.
An SF note. Actually, the Levi Strauss business has been inherited by descendants of the founding family. Mayor Daniel Laurie is connected to the descendants through marriage and is an heir to the Levi Strauss fortune.
That is a big Ferris wheel. Yeah. It's all enclosed, as opposed to the olden days when you sort of sat and like pulled a shovel. But here, you know, the wind's blowing. It's a little chilly when you get up there on the top. Ooh. But,
What is it? That's Alcatraz.
so that's just tourists now?
Yes, but they'll have a room set up for you.
Oh, great, thanks. You know, you kind of remind me of the Birdman of Alcatraz.
Thanks. He was a gruesome guy.
I'm thinking of his studious nature.
Did you know he didn't have any birds at Alcatraz?
What? I distinctly remember Burt Lancaster out there with birds.
Only in the movies, cuz.
This is a much more commercial area, more people.
Yeah, it can get very crowded. This isn't a touristy time of year or time of day.
In-N-Out burgers. Are you an In-N-Out guy?
Yeah, I like it a lot. When I go off my vegetarian.
I do enjoy admitting this, Stan. You're a pretty good driver, you know that?
Thank you.
You've improved with age. The Graduate. Remember that? What a movie. Go to school.
Dustin,
Hoffman.
is that who we're talking about?
Yeah,
Dustin, yeah.
he was The Graduate.
Yeah.
I think he was heading from L.A. up to Berkeley. No, his girlfriend was going up. And
Like that.
yeah, and then he's banging on the bus window and, you know, you can't leave me.
This is your old neighborhood from many years ago, right? Is it run down from what it used to be?
It's the same. It hasn't changed at all.
Yeah. And folks, we're talking about 90, 100 years here. Years ago, you took us on a tour. You had such pride in the city, and
I still do.
a city that kind of blends past and present in sort of a magical way.
That's a good way to put it.
This is yet another happening local community. We've been through a lot of these. You have any idea what it would cost to live in a place like this? I'm talking.
Well, the rents are probably
Rent.
around $4,000.
so
I would
that's like a
guess.
a two bedroom.
Yeah, I would say. If you're lucky, maybe it's more.
Yeah.
Go. Here comes another Waymo. I'm going to let him go.
Well, what did you just see? Just pull right in front of him. Let's see how quickly it stops.
Yeah. Happy to try that in your car. We're going to see the hills of San Francisco now. And because I'm in an electric vehicle, it's not going to be a problem at all.
Yeah. Doesn't this run down the battery going up these
I don't
hills?
think so.
Because in my plug-in, yeah, I hit the hills, and it drops fast.
Vallejo Street. Oh, okay, I'm going to pass this guy. Pretty good hill, huh?
Remember that show, Streets of San Francisco? With who was in that?
Carl Malden.
Yeah, and Michael Douglas, Streets of San Francisco. Those incredible car chases on these hills. One cute area after the other. Upscale areas. A lot of boutique-y places.
Pine is one of these one-way streets that gets your places faster, and Bush goes the opposite direction toward downtown. We're going to go away from downtown, and the way you remember it is Pine to the Pacific, and Bush to the Bay.
Pine to the Pacific. It is always a revelation when I'm with you, Stan.
Well, it's an elevation for me to be with you.
Our cousinship could be reaching a new level here.
I could ask for nothing more.
Stan, you're commenting that we have actually gotten into a traffic jam,
Yes.
and you're calling this a nasty traffic jam. So, ladies and gentlemen, the nasty traffic jam in San Francisco runs for 1 block.
We're just about to cross the Panhandle of Golden Gate Park, and right on the other side of it is the Haight-Ashbury.
Hey, you know the lyrics, cuz?
Nope, not me. I was a college nerd with a T-square when the hippies were around.
If you're going to San Francisco, be sure to wear some flowers in your hair. If you're going to San Francisco, you're gonna meet some gentle people there.
We'll put you on a corner with a tin cup.
Yeah, put on my tie-dyed t-shirt and bell-bottoms. Yo, toke some weed. You ever smoke a joint, Stan?
Turn off the recorder and I'll answer that.
I haven't been to Haight-Ashbury in so long. In fact, the last time I was in the Army, I'd stare at all the cool dudes with their long hair. I was so envious. I had a buzz cut. Anyone even know what a buzz cut is anymore?
This is kind of the hate.
And what's that?
That is UCSF, University of California, San Francisco. You'd end up there for specialized medical stuff.
Oh, is that out of par with Berkeley?
Well, and not as liberal.
I'm talking about academic greatness.
Oh, I would say so, yeah. We're here. So this is the Haight-Ashbury.
Haight-Ashbury, which I remember as sort of a giant head shop. Pretty girls with long hair. Ooh, looky what we have here. Gentrification. Trendy. Upscale. A suggestion here and there of the old craziness. Like those mannequin legs up there sticking out of an apartment window. Let's see, right about here. Stan, it was here where I'd hit the jazz and bluegrass bars. I don't see any. Probably some still around, but they're not here. Yeah, I'd tool up from Fort Ord on Monterey Bay, and I'd be saying prayers I'd meet a California dreaming gal who'd actually pay a little bit of attention to me.
I'm sure you were a big hit with your buzz cut.
Yeah, it was a lonely time for GIs on the streets of San Francisco. Yeah, and as another remembrance of things past, this place is called Hippie Thai Street Food. Although I don't recall Thai being in back then, I don't think we'd ever heard of Thai food. They're actually wearing tie-dyed duds in this shop. Doesn't quite bring a sentimental tear, but I appreciate the attempt to keep the old vibe, commercially viable.
Here you go. A special San Francisco treat for you, cuz.
What you got there, Stan?
The most luscious ice cream bar ever created. You want strawberry or cookies and cream.
In a taxi headed from Haight-Ashbury to the hotel, Stan's headed to a bridge tournament. Bridge? Oh no, that's what my mom used to play. Stan, he is something, a piece of work. I'm going to meet my Sherpas for the next few days, a couple with lifetime connections to San Francisco. Whoops, there goes another one. It's just so weird. No matter how many times I'm seeing these things, there's no driver in there. Hey, what do you think of Waymo?
Waymo? Oh, the driverless car thing? It's fine. It's fine.
But don't you feel it could hurt your business?
Well, we're surviving. There used to be a different one. I forget the name, but what was it? It's not working anymore.
An SF note. The taxi driver is referring to Cruise, a driverless taxi operation owned by General Motors. It ceased operations in San Francisco after one of its cars hit and dragged a pedestrian. Waymo, owned by Alphabet, owner of Google, cites statistics supporting its claim that its driverless taxis have a safer record than the human version. How long have you been driving?
25 years.
You know, I'd be upset if you found your business being hurt by these driverless things, these Waymos.
Yeah, most senior citizens, they don't like it, you know. These young guys love it. Yeah, everything here starts in San Francisco.
Geez, up and down these hills must kill the engine and the brakes.
Yeah. The brakes and the transmission. Up and down, up and down.
Here we are, a beautiful hotel up on Posh Knob Hill on a late Friday afternoon. But there are only 3 of us in this huge lobby. You know, if this were a fancy hotel in a fancy schmancy neighborhood in Manhattan, it'd be jammed.
Very true. Totally jammed.
Where is everybody?
Well, I don't really know. Maybe they're scared off. But they are coming back. If this were tourist season, it'd probably be jammed.
Could it be the power of what, hyperbolic media?
The power of misinformation.
Hey, that statue, that's Tony Bennett.
He liked to stay on Nob Hill.
Help me out on this. It's pine to the Pacific, and it's bush to the what?
Bush to the bay.
What kind of tree is this?
That is a mulberry.
Isn't it a mulberry bush?
Only in nursery rhymes.
Well, whatever. Here we go round the mulberry bush, the mulberry bush, the mulberry bush. Here we go round the mulberry bush. That really is a tree. These townhouses along here, oh wow. They must cost a fortune.
Well, I think along here, these are going to be mostly rentals. They go for probably $5,000 to $10,000 a month.
Oh, you're talking about the whole building or just the apartment?
No, an apartment, say a 2-bedroom. And you have views at every block. That is the pyramid, obviously.
It's always been called the Transamerica Pyramid, but who knows who owns it now? I'm sure Transamerica has nothing to do with it.
If I'm a lawyer and I live in San Francisco, am I more likely going to an office outside the city?
No, not necessarily. There's still, most of the major law firms still have San Francisco offices, although Silicon Valley is kind of where a lot of the high-end venture capital and technology and all that stuff happens. Part of the issue is there used to be a thriving financial district here, and for various reasons, it's not what it was. So I don't think there are as many jobs in the city. In fact, you see these Google buses, and I'm just using Google as an example, that people who live in the city because they want to live in the city, but their companies bus them to jobs down in the peninsula.
As you say, a lot of the business is tech now, and that's,
what, 25 miles south? So who are the big employers in the city?
Salesforce has their big headquarters here. There is tech in the city, but I would say most of the tech jobs are south of here.
we're climbing a mountain here. So what would bring the business back?
Well, tourism is a huge industry here. Conventions.
But not now, right?
Not now. I mean, that's part of the problem.
So how do you get them back?
Well, it is the off-season, so you're not getting a true picture. But I think the city has to do a better job of promoting itself. And I do see it starting to do that. It'll come back.
This hill is a monster. And if I have cardiac arrest, please ship me over to UCSF, will you?
San Francisco is a challenging walking city. You have to be prepared for some serious hills.
Yeah. Up, down, up, down.
Yeah. We started at the highest point and we'll slowly work our way down.
This was always one of the few iconic American cities. What is it now? And not just is it having difficult times economically, but what's become of that San Francisco
Vibe, laid back in an edgy way?
Short answer, one thing is tech. Change the demographics and economy of the city, for sure. And the personality, and when I say demographics, it's a community that skews younger,
Can be more transient.
and just has really different interests and less lifetime or previous connection to the city.
If you're not in tech or a highly paid professional, San Francisco is very difficult. We looked at places in this area and it was about $1 million.
I gotta say, $1 million doesn't seem so formidable in a place like this.
That's $1 million per bedroom.
Oh.
for Russian Hill?
This is Russia. This is where they buried the Russians.
Very beautiful. What a view from up here.
I thought we'd get a nice picture here.
And I see 1, 2, 3, 4 hills from where I'm standing. Absolutely magnificent.
About 50 hills overall, 7 big ones.
Must get a lot of runaway or I guess rollaway cars?
Well, if you don't turn your wheels in the right way, you get a stiff fine.
Why did they bury the Russians here?
You gotta go read the Russian Hill plaque.
The Russian Hill plaque. Russian Hill was named for the graves of several sailors of the Russian-American Company who died here in the early 1840s during the gold rush. The 49ers found their graves marked by wooden crosses at the top of this hill and added graves of their own. The graves were removed or built over during the 1850s. How about that?
Hallowed ground.
Here's a question for you. Earthquakes. How on earth do they build on these hills? It seems like a very high-risk proposition.
They have strict regulations covering everything from garages to roofs to toilets. Retrofitting's been a big industry.
This is where you had a place a while ago?
Yes, we rented here.
You walk up and it was just so beautiful. You didn't expect how beautiful it was. French doors leading to a rooftop deck with a grill and a hot tub. Showing a view of city lights.
We just enjoyed urban living. You know, just having fun, walking and exploring.
Yeah, and she's a real walker. She'd walk to church, which is like 20, 25 minutes. Walk to the grocery, to the health club, walk to the bus stop.
My parents lived here when they were married. I was apparently conceived here in San Francisco. When they got married, my mother, she was a nurse. All she could do was boil water and make toast. But she would walk down to the market and the butcher would teach her everything about meat, taught her how to cook all sorts of things, and she became a great cook. So then imagine all these years later, I'm living in this neighborhood and I'm going to the same market.
Beautiful sentiment. At that time, was there any talk that the city was declining?
Nothing that extreme.
There was a lot of talk about how do you turn the corner on homelessness? Do you put money at it? Do you put services at it? Is it a mental health issue? Is it a housing cost issue? What is it?
Apparently they
Created a homelessness bureaucracy around it. I don't know. There was talk about where's the tipping point. It's a systemic problem and who has the vision to solve it. But nobody was saying, San Francisco is so terrible.
It was, and still is, a pretty hot place to live. All the tech money. You'd get up on a Saturday morning and there would be all these young women with their ponytails and yoga mats. I mean, it was really youthful and still is that way.
I'm thinking about New York and San Francisco, the challenges of homelessness. In my community in New York, homelessness and drug dealing, they became really bad. Even had a place called Needle Park. But the businesses, the retail stores, residents, city government, they sort of teamed up. They turned what had become a blighted mess into safety and solvency. Hasn't San Francisco had that kind of collaborative effort?
Yes, but not enough. In some ways and places, there's been a lack of political will. It's historically been a very liberal community. There's been resistance to draconian measures.
Liberal cities, and homelessness, and crime, and the rest, they go together according to some in the media, but my New York community, we actually changed things, and we did it with compassion.
But let's face it, more liberal people tend to elect politicians that are more tolerant. That's certainly the case in San Francisco. And I do think that there is a cumulative effect of that over time. But the politicians are getting the message. The status quo no longer cuts it. To be clear, San Francisco is a city of wonderful neighborhoods, like small towns. The problem areas are limited.
but they've colored perceptions of the whole.
You know, there's a lot more beautiful, small neighborhood kind of feel here than I ever took note of when I was here in the past. It's probably because I've never walked it like this before. Too bad how so many cities have redeveloped their heritage right out of existence and bulldozed some of the great traditions and charms that the immigrants who founded them, that they brought to them.
San Francisco is a beautiful city that respects its historical character, that generally includes some impressive architecture.
But every once in a while, you see a building that was built
more recently,
and you think, wow, there must have been this brain drain in the San Francisco City and County Planning Commission, because all of a sudden you look up and there's this horrible monstrosity of a building, no architectural redeeming qualities, in a prime location that will be there forever, and you think, wow, how did that happen?
Are you talking about that boxy gray thing?
The tall.
Oh, that thing. Oh yeah, I see what you mean. You know what I call them? I call them generous property tax generators. They're so big and there's so many units, the cities love them for tax purposes.
Union Square on a Saturday morning, and there are practically no shoppers around.
Yep, you'd think there would be. They have all the usual flagships. Saks, Macy's, Neiman Marcus.
The weather's been a little funny, but yeah, this is crazy. They really need a campaign to bring people back because they continue to make public improvements.
Park looks beautiful.
I have to say, they must have moved folks out of here. There used to be homeless in Union Square.
How'd they do that? Don't know how it is here, but in NYC, very often the homeless are afraid to go into the shelters. They get ripped off, assaulted, especially women.
I don't have a definitive answer on that.
An SF note. San Francisco's approach to homelessness is similar to some other cities and has been stepped up as elsewhere. Initiatives include providing additional shelter space, rental subsidies, and incentives to find housing and other services in the home communities of the homeless and elsewhere. The city has reported that vagrancy has been reduced to pre-COVID levels and that efforts to curtail homelessness remain a priority.
Point of trivia, the Greek goddess atop the Union Square Memorial, the person who might have posed for that and whose likeness it supposedly is, that was Alma de Bretteville. She became known as the great-grandmother of San Francisco.
An SF note. A little more on Alma, who was known as Big Alma. She was a 6-foot-tall artist model who became a philanthropist and art patron after marrying the sugar magnate Adolph Spreckels. Alma was the driving force behind one of San Francisco's premier edifices, the California Palace of the Legion of Honor. In case you were wondering, the Union Square statue commemorates Admiral George Dewey's victory at the Battle of Manila Bay during the Spanish-American War. And there is security all over the place. We're in Neiman Marcus, and there are plainclothes cops.
Perceptions about rampant crime are hurting. Definitely hurting.
There may be more security than shoppers, at least at the moment. The perception that the streets are unsafe is sure keeping.
People away, and here they depend on the suburbanites coming in and very much the tourists. An SF note. Dropping crime rates in many U.S. cities have garnered headlines. San Francisco, as it turns out, is doing better than most. In the past few years, it's had the largest drop in property crime and third largest drop in violent crime among comparatively sized cities. Credit goes, according to the locals, to more vigorous and targeted policing and changes in city leadership. Quite a few empty retail stores on this street. 4 lease signs, quite a few of them. These are beautiful properties. I bet there isn't the lunchtime crowd of eaters and shoppers there used to be. Probably don't have the office workers there used to be. Working from home. plus the economic pullback, especially in tech. The city's been touting itself as the artificial intelligence capital of the world. Might premature, I don't know. But maybe it will turn out to be the next big thing in tech. Tech's had a hell of a ride here the past 20, 30 years. But from what I read, AI just doesn't have the potential to employ the numbers that conventional tech manufacturers do. I'm thinking of that humongous Apple building they built down in Silicon Valley. I don't think we're going to see that sort of thing in AI, but what do I know? Oh, I know. Maybe the AI, what do they call them? The mines where they generate the power to do the AI, maybe they're going to be even bigger. But bottom line here, I guess, is they don't need the range of staff expertise. They don't need the number of really highly educated. I'm not going to go there. I'm going to say they just don't need the range of staff expertise. And they use their AI to advance and expand their AI offerings and to guide and run marketing. And when the AI does it, that means there aren't people sitting at desks doing it. Even so, I'd wager San Francisco's going to step up fast in this area. The city's just too unique. It's too appealing not to. I know. It's gracious. I'm starting to sound like somebody, like a Chamber of Commerce guy.
An SF note. It's not a sound idea to bet against the Bay Area. A very fertile domain for its chief city. Some stats. Growing population of over 9 million. Fifth largest in the U.S. Among the most affluent in the U.S. by median household income. In addition to world-beating tech enterprise, big-time education and healthcare industries, to say nothing of tourism when the vibe is good. To somewhat balance the froth, as already noted repeatedly on our journey, housing is dear and breathtakingly expensive, and also the gap between haves and have-nots is, like elsewhere, gaping ever wider.
I'm going to keep my Chamber of Commerce hat on for just a moment here. I'm thinking that there maybe should be more people up on the hills of San Francisco shouting, San Francisco's here. It's alive and kicking, as able as ever to grab your hearts. And, the new mayor's been beating that drum. That's what we're hearing. How about the governor? He's been in the news a lot lately. Gavin Newsom?
Yes.
When he was mayor here, what did you think? If he runs for president, will the opposition beat him up as the failed liberal leader of a failed liberal city? What do you think?
Well, I think he did some really remarkably courageous things. Absolute leader. For example, when he was mayor,
He said, I'm the mayor of San Francisco. I don't care what's going on in the rest of the country. We're going to perform gay marriages. Come to City Hall. We will marry. It really brought the issue to the fore, and
boom, boom. Things happened quickly thereafter. He did some really bold out there things, and I think they made the city better. Remains to be seen if a Californian from San Francisco can translate to the national scene.
We made it over to Chinatown. There were some people out in the streets. Look like locals, not tourists. I think it's impressive how Chinese and other Asians are stepping up in America's civic affairs. They've traditionally eschewed that stuff. It's understandable, I think. Though many have lived here a long time, they've tended toward focusing on their own communities. And they're likely to be imbued with, I'll call it a Confucian mindset, born into and accepting social and economic norms, accepting that the entrenched powers are going to have their way. But more recently, they've been making their case. When I presented CITIZENARTS programs at universities here in California, I've been particularly struck by the enthusiasm and the challenging spirit of the Asian students in particular. Almost 40% of the population here in San Francisco is Asian, second after whites. increasingly well off, increasingly civic minded, increasingly outspoken, increasingly influential. And why did San Francisco become a magnet for them? Obvious answer: first stop coming across the Pacific. And there's been a Chinese community here going back to when foreigners first settled on the West Coast. Laborers on the railroads and the mining industries, fishermen. During our citizen arts work in China, especially during the recent economic doldrums, Chinese business people, I'd sort of lower the tone a little bit, look around, and they'd mention they'd been getting their money out of China, investing abroad in places like San Francisco, LA, New York, Toronto, buying properties, moving families there. And to think of it, that may also have contributed to San Francisco's recent slowdown. It's much harder now to move money out of China, much harder to emigrate to the U.S. Maybe it's a lot harder to feel the U.S. is a welcoming place. That building on the corner back there, sort of a Russian cupola up top? Maybe not. The Zoetrope building, that's what it's called. A plaque said the location for editing studios where a lot of famous Hollywood films were edited, like The Godfather. I actually remember the name Zoetrope coming up in film credits.
How do you spell it?
Zoetrope. Oh, hi, you're a cute doggy. Let me guess, terrier?
Havanese.
Adorable. We're getting a little tangled here. I'm from out of town. I'm trying to get a sense of San Francisco these days. Haven't been here for a while. Are you a resident?
Yeah, I am. Where are you from?
I'm a New Yorker. So what do you think? What's going on here?
Little better the last couple of years, but even during the lockdowns, this neighborhood did okay because there's an amount of restaurants and, bars and stuff that were able to stay open. There's not a huge homeless population in this neighborhood, but in some parts of the city, it's, say it's like a third world country, it's disrespectful to third world countries. And thankfully, we have a new mayor. It's too early to say how he's doing, but there seems to be a little bit more, they're open to the idea of maybe open air drug markets are, a bad thing. So they seem to be doing a little bit more enforcement from that perspective. And, addiction is fucking terrible. However, if you're addicted and you don't want to take treatment, how long do you get tolerance? And I don't know. I think a lot of people I'd like to think more people in California are getting to the idea that maybe we need to do things just a little bit different. Empathy is very important. Helping people is important. But at some point, you got to put your big boy pants on and, maybe accept some treatment. And, it's not like we don't spend a lot of money trying to help people. There was a report a couple of months ago, in a recent 6-year period, California spent $24 billion.
An SF note. The San Francisco portion of that hefty sum was about $3 billion.
Is that the reason homeless people gravitate to San Francisco and California overall? Because they know you got their backs?
I can only speculate for why somebody might do it, but that could be part of it.
This is North Beach, right? We're in North Beach.
This North Beach.
This was a real club area. What is it now? What is North Beach?
It's kind of the same sort of thing. There are still a few clubs around. There's a few strip clubs, a few regular clubs, a lot of restaurants, primarily Italian, Mexican, a few Irish restaurants, a good mix. So it's kind of what it's been like for the last 20 or 30 years.
Is it expensive here?
I believe it is. I have rent control, so it makes my situation a little different.
When you talk to people outside of San Francisco and in other parts of the country, they can have a dark image of the city. I know there are problems here, but so far, I'm just not seeing it.
You're probably just not going to the right parts of the Tenderloin, and
That's tomorrow.
might want to skip it. Frankly, there's no reason to go there.
How long have you been here?
30 years.
30 years. Have you thought about leaving?
Or is this it?
No, I like it here. I have a fairly unique situation with rent control and good friends in the neighborhood that work in different industries. So for me, I've been around long enough that I don't have to sweat it too much. My rent can't go too nuts. I'm not saying I would never move out of San Francisco. You know, like I grew up in Ireland. I like Ireland.
I was going to say, I could hear a little bit of an old sod there.
Yeah, the weather over there would be the big drawback. You know, and a lot of people complain about the weather in San Francisco, but, you know, this is okay.
Yeah,
You know.
today is gorgeous.
Once that sun goes down behind the buildings, it'll get a little chillier. I can feel a little fog, cold in that breeze. But overall, it's a fairly pleasant climate.
Are people who live here just too tolerant?
Yeah, well, I don't know. Our last mayor, bless her, but I just don't know what it was she was getting done. I know there was a number of department heads under the last administration that got indicted and convicted of various crimes, you know, bribery and corruption. By the way, what do they call you when you're not at home?
Say again?
I'm Peter. And you are?
Oh,
I'm Jim.
tell me, Peter, what are the 2 or 3 things that have to happen to change this bleak attitude some people have about San Francisco?
I don't know whether it's just the attitude of some of our political leaders that have just turned people off. You know, like when there's people who are just not fully committed to public service, out for themselves. Those guys really aren't doing a good job. Everybody gets the blame.
Is the city driven by property values? That's it, by tech money coming in?
I don't know. You know, like some of the wealthiest people in San Francisco are the Pelosi's and the Newsoms. I don't think their money comes directly from tech. Maybe investing in tech companies before the rest of us can.
Yeah. That's the older money.
Yeah, I still think there's an amount of tech, but even that whole work from home thing, you might have a mailing address in San Francisco, you might not have any employees there. And with San Francisco, we found out how important it was to have people coming into downtown, using transit, you know, using the restaurants, using the cafes, all that tech bro money.
Who occupies the skyscrapers now? I mean, like this one.
That's the Transamerica Tower. Back when you were trying to build that, there was people in the neighborhood who protested it. Oh, we can't have that monstrosity built here. They're the same people who love it now. It's funny how it changes.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny how it changes.
Back in the day, it was a lot of financial companies down there.
This neighborhood's kept some of that spunky, irreverent feel. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you got to keep some of that stuff. The bar over here, Vesuvio's very well known. Neighborhood bar, which my beer is sitting in with my hat on top of it.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Never want to get between a fella and his brew.
It's all good, fella. Those your friends over by the City Lights bookstore?
Yep, probably thought they lost me. I gotta go. Great talking to you. Take care, Peter.
Hi, you too.
What is that hill with the tower?
Telegraph Hill, and that's Coit Tower.
Why a tower?
It's a monument built by Mrs. Coit. Legend has it was built to replicate the end of a fire hose in honor of all the firefighters after the 1906 earthquake and fire. We're going to climb up there.
Climb? Up there?
Sure, a real San Francisco experience.
She was not kidding. If you want a real San Francisco experience, if you want to test yourself, I'm not talking about overeating, which is easy to do here. I'm talking about climbing the steps of Telegraph Hill to the Coit Tower. These houses perched along here, charming in a precarious way. You can tell your loved one, honey, I found a place in Tony, San Francisco. great deal. Really? She says. Absolutely. Only thing is, you're gonna have about 400 steps up or down. What is that? What's that noise?
I think it may very well be parrots screeching, because there's a famous flock of parrots, colorful green and orange parrots. They live on Telegraph Hill and have populated some areas here near the Embarcadero.
Isn't that wild?
And you will see them every once in a while.
Oh, well, it's certainly a different sound.
Oh yeah, it's a very distinctive bird call.
Oh, definitely not something I expected to learn today. We're getting closer to the tower, thanks be to God. Step, I'm counting 5, 21, 621. 99.99% of the people, they drive up there. They don't know what they're missing. A real San Francisco experience. Wow, this is a long stretch. Endless. If you did this twice, 3 times a week, think of the shape you'd be in. You didn't drop dead first. Hi! You're my hero, yes you are. Oh, and if that doesn't beat all, this guy just jogged past me, and I was starting to feel like an Olympian. Gotta take a breath. Oh, looking back, way below the bay. Over there, I think it's Oakland, Berkeley. I've really fallen way behind. Maybe I'll duck into one of these houses and beg for mercy. Maybe he'll drag me the rest of the way. Oh, okay, I see the tower. Piercing into the clouds. Dun, 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 dun. We are the champions. We are the champions. We wanted to do the Coit Tower. The inside walls feature frescoes by American artists, social realism style. And the 230 steps inside there, they would have brought our total steps to a nice even 1,000 or so. A San Francisco experience that, if survived, is worthy of telling the grandkids. But, well, the door was locked. However, we did confirm that the legend of the fire hose architecture honoring firefighters, while a noble sentiment, was indeed just legend. The real story, though less compelling, is laudable. The good Lily Hitchcock Coit funded the 210-foot tower to beautify the city. We're up to what? 7 or so miles. Walking to places visitors go and a few they probably don't. Over there's a restaurant, the Chubby Noodle. You gotta love this place, right? And over there, Tutti Frutti Hair. It looks pretty good on her. I've seen one homeless person so far, just past him. And granted, we've been walking the landmark neighborhoods, North Beach, Russian Hill, Nob Hill, Union Square, Chinatown, and a few others you wouldn't expect to find much distress in the streets. Affluent, high political focus, high security presence. Top of our hotel, stereo views, and this unique celebration of the military is about the last thing I would expect to see up here. This is essentially a bar. Not to say the military doesn't like a drink or two. Tomorrow we mostly drive, maybe another cable car. They're always a hoot. Can imagine being one of those brakemen. Oh, get real, Gabe. You wouldn't be able to budge that brake stick. The Tenderloin's on our itinerary. Sure hoping it doesn't live up to its reputation. Before we leave the top of the mark, a note about what's called the Squadron Bottle Tradition. Troops heading across the Pacific from San Francisco in World War II, they gather up here in the top of the mark for a farewell toast. and they leave a bottle behind the bar for returning comrades, who then get free drinks and leave replacement bottles. And the bottles were accompanied by logbooks with names and messages of wartime farewell and remembrance. You can see all of this up here, and it's well worth it. It's very wonderful. And the tradition continues. Can't believe I'm back here in the Presidio of San Francisco. When I was stationed at Fort Ord down on Monterey Bay, one day they handed me a sealed parcel marked top secret. They ordered me to deliver the parcel to the commanding general's office here.
Well, that sounds like a big deal.
Well, yeah, it was hardly that. They probably picked me to be their messenger, because I didn't do much else of any value. That building over there, that was the officers' club. I remember it like it was yesterday. I stopped in there after delivering a package.
You lunched with the general?
Oh, hardly. When I got to the general's office, there was a message waiting for me to call my office at Fort Ord. I called and I was told I had just gotten reassignment orders and I had to get back there pronto and start packing.
You want to stop in? I believe it's now a museum about the Presidio when it was military. Maybe there's a picture of you having lunch.
Ha! More like crying in my beer. Those orders. I was headed to Vietnam. Guess I had my own little squadron bottle moment.
This neighborhood, these few blocks, this is the Tenderloin. This is it.
Certainly seems cleaned up from what I remember. It's kind of a street-to-street thing.
In a way, San Francisco brought it on itself because there was an effort, this may be 20 years ago, of concentrating these populations into these areas away from Union Square, away from tourists, away from everything. And I think it, just completely backfired.
They're not used to seeing it that way.
You don't see it spread out into other places, but where it is troubling and just seems intractable. Just 6 or 8 blocks down there is Union Square.
People talk about blocks and blocks of people lying around on the street, which I'm not seeing, by the way. Maybe I'm a little inured to this, coming from where I've come from, but it's just not something extraordinarily horrible. It's bad. You don't want it at all.
Well, and it's bad. It's been bad for a long time. That's the thing that's frustrating. I just feel like the city, if it had really wanted to address this issue, it could have, but it didn't have the political will to do it, and it just kept kicking the can down the road. And then with things like the pandemic, I think it sort of accelerated. I mean, frankly, I think it is better now from what I've seen.
We just passed about a block and a half where we had maybe 30, 40 people in various difficult situations. Would that be considered the area of most issue?
It's representative of that. We'll head a little bit south where there's still some areas, but they're similar. It's isolated.
North to south, maybe 4 to 6 blocks, and east to west, 6 to 8 blocks.
It's a significant area.
But it's not as if the city's overrun.
No, it's not spread out over the entire city. Like we said, it's been concentrated.
Because it's so bad and it colors everything.
Feeds perceptions of crime, dysfunction.
And look, there are people from here that go out, prey on other neighborhoods, selling drugs, robbing people, though that's being cleared up too.
In New York, one thing they have done is they have deinstitutionalized a lot of people with mental issues, and they're the ones who end up out on the street.
Yeah.
Have they done that here as well?
Ronald Reagan. He was the one that closed the state mental hospitals, which might have been the right thing to do, but the problem was there was no substitute. There was no community alternative. It was just, you're out of here.
I can see if somebody has not had exposure to this sort of thing, might be thinking, oh my God.
Well, you can imagine. I would not walk through here, and it's practically in the middle of the central part of the city.
Tenderloin Police Station. Well, I take it these people are protected by certain legal rights
that they can be in the streets, and they're not necessarily moved out for sanitation reasons.
Of course, there are protections, but there's a balance. Their right to be homeless and the rights of everybody else to feel safe, unthreatened. The new mayor's been talking about how this balance became skewed.
I'm noticing, I'm looking around here, there's practically no storefront business. Maybe a few hardy bodegas. I'm not sure I'm even seeing that. There's practically no local business.
Faithful Fools over there on our left. It's an interesting organization. They do training workshops about serving the homeless, and they provide services in the Tenderloin. They also try to raise understanding of the homeless.
I guess you combine a tolerant population with pretty decent weather year-round, and those with a homeless bent or just don't have options, they may come here and stay, and this becomes their refuge. I'm curious, the Tenderloin 5 years ago, was it much different from this?
No.
10 years ago.
No. I mean, it's always been like this.
I've been asking people why government hasn't been able to change perceptions about what's going on in the city, and general response, it's just that it's been too big an issue for them to handle it. It was sort of the attitude I heard. Remember that person I spoke to in Neiman Marcus yesterday? Sort of like, well, that's the way it is. Though there seems to be some optimism, this is changing.
I mean, I think a really good mayor would have, Dianne Feinstein would have been out there making partnerships with the business community and honor bully pulpit and giving it back to Fox News and weeding the city out of this perception.
Yeah, you gotta have those people in the bully pulpit constantly singing the right song, or singing the same song, at least.
I would say that too. And then the other piece of that for me is, okay, that's the talk. And the walk, though, is actually doing something about things that are troubling people.
Yeah.
And I say, don't just create another agency. Oh, the Homeless Solutions Authority, blah, blah, blah. And, here's your money and here's your staff and here's your charge. Don't do that. I say boots on the ground, bring in, semi-trucks that are, or buses that are portable showers. Give people clean socks, clean clothes. Really, what do people need immediately on a day-to-day basis to help their situation? And connect people with what they need, whether it's mental health services, drug treatment services, whatever it is. Give some sort of hope and empowerment and some sort of agency to people who otherwise
Just feel like this is the only existence they can have.
Yeah, I'm also thinking they've got to give a hell of a boost to the middle class here. Not just here, in cities all over the country. Some strong effort to get housing more affordable, so you don't have big parts of the city that are mostly rich or poor. The middle class, those are the folks who built the neighborhoods. How do you keep them? That's a difficult proposition, isn't it? Such a big challenge if fighting market trends.
Exactly. And to do that, you really need to get in and tinker with real estate values and market values, and that's unpopular.
Yep, that's very unpopular.
And infeasible, because the haves,
Who would have to give some things up.
are the engaged and voting population, and the have-nots who might benefit are not. So you're never going to have a situation where it's feasible from an electoral standpoint to implement measures like that.
And another thing, sort of fostering San Francisco as a very expensive place to live. There is good transit, actually, in the San Francisco area. So you can live as far as San Jose and take public transportation to the city. You can live in Oakland, Berkeley, Richmond, like places to the east, and take transportation into the city. So the middle class more and more live around the city. In the rich or in the city?
Sounds like NYC, Boston, and etc.
All right. The first crowds we've seen, the ferry building by the waterfront. Sort of like if you're from Boston, Faneuil Hall, or New York. You know, South Street, Seaport. And a lot of people here strolling around. It's mostly, as these markets are, it's mostly food. A mall sort of feel to it. Everybody's here in the Buena Vista, having really strong Irish coffee, and I'm talking whiskey, not beans. One of those places that's probably pretty much the way it was when San Fran was a much littler burg by the bay. You can hear the mellowing of inhibitions. That guy's having a burger and fries behind me smells so good I might just reach over and grab a few. Maybe I'll just do this. To my dear friends, many, many thanks for showing me around your grand hilly town. Slancha!
Slancha.
Richard!
Yeah.
Richard!
Yeah.
What have you heard about San Francisco that would either attract you or repel you?
Can you give me a hint where you're going with this?
Have you heard anything about the city declining?
I have heard some people say that, but I do not regard those sources as reliable.
So, is there anything in particular here that you particularly love to do?
Yeah, we're passing it now. The Legion of Honor. They have an organ concert on the weekend. It's sublime.
Do you know who was the driving force behind this place?
But of course, a squadron of French legionnaires.
You're close. A 6-foot artist model. She became known as the great-grandmom of San Francisco.
Ah, yes. Alma de Bretteville, the Greek goddess of Union Square. I love her very much.
Is there anybody in San Francisco now whom you love?
Yeah, a 5-foot artist model. Actually, I have many happy memories here. Finishing many bottles of wine over great meals. I have great memories of San Francisco. I've left my heart in San Francisco many times. I left my heart in San Francisco.
Did you bring your earthquake meter?
My earthquake meter? No, I have a feeling that when my butt puckers, I'll know that we're having an earthquake. I won't need a meter.
Yeah, well, be sure to let me know when you pucker.
To merge onto US 101 North towards Civic Center.
Do you know who named the Golden Gate Bridge?
No, I don't.
I think it was Fremont, the general who took California from Mexico in the Mexican-American War. A bit of manifest destiny for the USA.
Oh yeah, the Pathfinder.
That's the one. He looked out there one day. It was a beautiful sunny day like today, and he said, the Golden Gate. There was no bridge back then, right? Just the meeting of bay and ocean.
Look at those shoeboxes piled up one on top of the other. Everybody's painted their home a different shade of pastel.
So, what do those shoeboxes go for?
Entry level's probably at least $1 million, depending on the color.
Depends on the color. Ha! Did you know people really get turned off if you call this place Frisco?
Yeah, they throw a hissy fit, just get over yourselves.
I'm going to talk about the Bay as a place of fog banks, mystical beauty. I can get carried away with that.
Please do.
Look at how the fog shrouds the Golden Gate. Just the tops of bridge showing, like centurions, and a sailboat skimming the sparkling bay.
And over here we have a panhandler.
What's his sign say?
Says, welcome to San Francisco. Now give me $20.
Are we in the AI zone?
Depends on what that means.
AI, like in artificial intelligence.
Like in robots? I mean, everybody looks somewhat human to me.
Let's see what my AI program says. Hang on. It says, San Francisco doesn't have an officially designated AI zone, but it's widely recognized as the epicenter of the AI revolution.
Whoa, epicenter? I'm starting to pucker.
Is this Mission Bay? It says here it's one of the main AI locations. Clean, almost Spartan, warehousey. Looks like it used to be manufacturing, becoming kind of lofty chic. Seems to be a lot of good stock. I can feel it.
Feel what?
A thundering stampede.
I better check my earthquake meter then.
A thundering stampede of venture capitalists. Yes, this is the place.
There's a sign, Artificial Intelligence Center of the Universe.
Where?
Hey, come on. That says post office.
So do you think AI will change the world?
Well, let's let AI speak for itself. Absolutely, Richard and Jim. AI is already changing the world and its impact is only accelerating. The real question is how and for whom.
Geez, talk about a self-promoter.
You want the details AI is offering?
Maybe later, after 2 or 3 bourbon old fashions.
There's a Waymo. Got his signal on us. Wants to get over because it's more better. Are they gonna let him in, I wonder?
I think Waymos are easy to bully, right? Drive right in front of them, they just stop.
Wonder if you can make a buck doing AI. What do they call AI gurus? I don't think they're coders.
I think it's an engineering thing.
Let me check our artificial buddy here. It says, by the way, do I call this it? Or thou? Or what?
I kind of like your Old Testament analogy.
Well, thou says AI pays well across the board, not just for the elite engineers. And that's all well and good. But, and this is a big but, when I look through the positions here, the ones that get the big bucks, they're all engineering. You got your computer vision engineer, your robotics engineer.
Doesn't sound like Google World or Apple World.
Nope. Not until the AI startups get bought by those worlds.
Look at this. We're seeing beautiful granite buildings.
That's got to be City Hall, right?
Well, it's like something out of Washington, D.C. It's gorgeous. And right across the street, the San Francisco Public Library, all marble and glorious. If you came out of the sky and you dropped here, you'd think to yourself, what an incredibly beautiful, almost European city this is. And if you went a half mile in the other direction, you'd say, get me the heck out of here.
You know, we can skip the Tenderloin. I've already done it.
I'd like a real-time update. Report back to family and friends. So, and there's a guy walking directly in front of our car. He walked out into the street with his hoodie up, did not look, has no idea where he is. And we could have hit him.
And he would have had a hell of a lawsuit.
Right.
Now, what does that mean? Tenderloin. Come on. Tenderloin.
I think it's the tender underside of the community, like the underbelly, the belly of the whale, the belly of the beast, or something.
An SF note. This is a moniker explained by various theories. Among the most prominent, it was named after New York City's Tenderloin District, which had its heyday in the late 1800s. A New York cop back then supposedly said, "I've had nothing but chuck steak for a long time, and now I'm going to get a little of the tenderloin." He was supposedly talking about the bribes and other illicit income to be gained from working in a crime-ridden neighborhood.
The juxtaposition of wealth and despair in San Francisco just never ceases to astonish me. Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sacks put it something like this: capitalism is fabulous at creating wealth, it's just not very good at distributing it.
Definitely a dark side to capitalism. I've been counting, and I'm up to about 20 homeless people.
And I think in order to live here, you have to come to a place of almost zombie-like desensitization.
Every city has its unfortunates, some more than others. Why do you think San Francisco has a neighborhood like this?
I think there's a large population of people who are mentally ill, who should be housed and incarcerated against their will, and medicated and taken care of until they can care for themselves. And we're not doing that because it's illegal.
Do you think it should be illegal?
No, I don't. I think that the rule is, unless they're a danger to themselves or someone else, you can't incarcerate them. And my feeling is that a person that is standing on a street corner urinating on themselves and talking to the stop sign is a danger to themselves, and therefore should be taken off the street, should be housed, should be given medical attention, should be cared for in safety and comfort, should be fed, and if I have to be taxed for that, that's fine. And if they can be reintroduced into society, great. And if they can't, then they can't.
Why does San Francisco get such notoriety? So many cities have this.
It may be just because of our culture wars and our political tribalism. It may be that one party looks at another party and says, yeah, but look at the city in your state. Look at the city that you represent. Look at all that homelessness and this and that and the other thing. It might just be the political talking point of the moment. I mean, nothing has changed. I've been coming up here for 30 years, and this hasn't changed.
My take on it is that there are always going to be those on the fringes, and they probably need to end up somewhere, and it's an NIMBY thing. Nobody wants them in their backyard, so they get shunted into a certain neighborhood, and that's where they stay, and that becomes their sanctuary.
I think that you're exactly right, that not everybody comes into life with the same skill set, certainly, or the same advantages and the same opportunities. But there's also an element of very bad decision making, because if I found myself in San Francisco and I did not have the money to put a roof over my head, I wouldn't stay here.
What I'm trying to get at is, what is the personality of the people who live here that leads to the kind of tolerance that enables the neighborhood we just went through?
I think it's a sense of helplessness on the part of the wealthy and hopelessness on the part of the poor.
This really relatively small piece of the city, the Tenderloin, some people talk about it as if that's the city. And I ask you, how come?
No, because they want to bash the place.
I think anybody that wanted to bash New York City could just go to the South Bronx and say, hey, look, would you want to live here? How come the people in Manhattan aren't doing anything about this? How come they're allowing this to happen?
I'll give you a New Yorker's response to that.
Yeah.
The South Bronx is one of the poorest urban communities in the entire country. It is an entry point for people of low means, a primary place immigrants come through, and they want to get out or make the community better. So it's a launching pad for a lot of people who could not afford to live elsewhere at the start. I'm going to guess there are poorer neighborhoods of San Francisco that are the same. Tenderloin is different. This seems like a place that was brought low in large part, as you were saying, by people who have mental issues and drugs. Not necessarily because they're poor to begin with, though they're sure a poor crowd. I think San Francisco has enormous opportunity here to rid themselves of this image of decay, because the decay is limited and I think controllable.
You know, I think it's been like a perfect storm here. It's housing shortages and these absurd costs, and it was laid low by COVID. The decline, the economic decline, as the tech industry hit a rough patch. And then there's fentanyl. That's the drug of choice these days, and it's a heck of a lot more lethal than heroin.
Some people get pissed off about the opposite end of things. So the gentrification. Sometimes the gentrification, it pushes people to the fringes, but sometimes it's only to a point where it makes it more habitable for people to stay in their community and might help keep it from becoming an enclave totally for the rich.
With gentrification, I just want to say that when people complain about the cost of living, nothing requires you to live here. There are a lot of places in this country that are much more affordable than San Francisco. You can go to the middle of the country and reduce the cost of your housing by 75%.
This place still attracts people from all over the world.
Right.
They want to be here. And so that's going to continue.
Yep.
They want to be here rather than wherever. My guess is that in the not too distant future, the Tenderloin's going to be a habitable neighborhood.
And I think part of the thing we're talking about here is marketing, because as we saw, the Tenderloin is a complete shithole, absolutely. But it's what, 1/20th of the city?
An SF note. In fact, the Tenderloin is about 1/3 of a square mile. San Francisco in total is about 47 square miles, meaning the Tenderloin covers just under 150th of the city.
if you can afford it, most of the city is quite habitable. It has a lot of mass transit. It has a lot of cultural things going on. It's got lots of restaurants. It's got things to do. So if you like city life, this is one of the more spectacular places to live. There are just certain areas you don't want to go.
And ain't it so in every city? Perhaps there's just been more tolerance here. Some might call it caring than most other places.
It was also very tolerant of the gay community when the gay community was something that required tolerance.
And now the gay community is a very big factor here. And they are, in some respects, driving the change, political force.
Yes, absolutely.
The difference, of course, is that the homeless here, they need to be lifted up, put on a track to a life that has some possibilities. And if that can be accomplished, who knows? Down the road, who knows? The Tenderloin might become one of San Francisco's iconic neighborhoods. One with a Phoenix Rising story. What do you think about that?
I think each of the San Francisco neighborhoods has stories to tell.
Good stories, uplifting stories.
Yeah, so why not the Tenderloin, where the Phoenix rose? You know, what makes the San Francisco neighborhood thing even more interesting is that this is a young city. The gold rush wasn't until mid-19th century it became a city, though there'd been the Spanish and Mexican influence prior.
Yeah, it didn't have a few hundred years to percolate, like colonial Boston. You know, things happen quickly here. I say, let that bird fly.
Speaking of ascending, this is quite a hill we're on.
This is quite a hill.
This is a hill you don't really want to be walking on if you're walking to work.
Oh, wow.
So, by the way, I just want to point out that this street is so steep that the sidewalk cement was poured in steps.
Wow, so we are way up.
Way up.
And this is truly...
My nose will start to bleed. Some amazing architecture. Yeah. There's some really incredible old buildings, and you never know where they're going to be. Is the thing. You don't go to one little corner of the city and say, "Oh, this is where all the cool stuff is." It's dotted all over the place. We have here a beautiful brick Victorian. Some people would call it a Gothic monstrosity, but I think it's magnificent. And then across the street is this ugly modern square thing.
Oh, look at that! You can get out there with your tweezers.
My English friends call that a tortured garden. They just clip it to an inch of its life and make it look like something no longer found in nature. The variety relative to the size of the city, the architectural variety alone is astonishing. This building here next to us, this building is made of stone, and it's beautiful, but you can't build things like this. Nobody builds it, it's too expensive. And then you look across the street, and there's this beautiful building with millwork on the outside. It's painted in 3 colors. It's got rounded windows. It's gorgeous, but nobody makes these things anymore. They can't afford it. They sell you a boxy thing with straight lines, and they tell you that it's postmodern and clean and austere, when it really is just cheap and junky. And it's a way of squeezing more money out of the buyer. You'll notice again here all the 19th century stuff. Everywhere you look, the 19th century is in front of you. Polk, Clay, Webster, Fremont. It's everywhere you turn in San Francisco.
You know, Jack Kerouac used to stay in this place with his sidekick Neil Cassidy, the Beat generation of Americana culture.
I love this quote from On the Road. The only people for me are the mad ones. The ones who are mad to be, who are mad to live, mad to talk, mad to be saved, desirous of everything at the same time. The ones who never yawn or say a commonplace thing, but burn, burn, burn like fabulous yellow Roman candles, exploding like spiders across the stars. What a guy.
That might be our Waymo right there.
Okay, then, let's go chat with a robot.
All right, we're trying to get into this Waymo. Hey, it's locked. Why isn't it working?
I have no idea.
Open up. What the hell? We can't even get in.
Nobody can get around it.
Nobody can go. We're stuck in the middle of the street. And this is the future of our country.
Right.
It's locked.
Here you go.
Could you pick us up, please? Hey, what kind of automated vehicle are you? Come on, Waymo.
Please stand back. It's moving.
Waymo. Waymo. Hey, Waymo. Wait, he stopped over there. All right, we're chasing this car. Okay, we're here. Hello.
Probably just
Okay.
it's probably talking to your phone.
Okay.
Where's your app? You're doing this.
It's got my initials there.
Fuck, man. Can't get it.
This is a broken Waymo. Hey! There he goes.
All right. Okay.
We're finished.
See you, Waymo.
Stood up by a Waymo. Teased by a Waymo. Right? Teased. I think I need a drink. Hi, so we're late because we couldn't get into our Waymo.
What's the name, sir?
Gabe, G-A-B-B-E. I'm not kidding you. It wouldn't let us in.
They say it's a good judge of character, those cars. I don't know.
Thanks a lot.
What are you being a character again? What?
He says the Waymo's a good judge of character. He's not letting us in.
And we're a couple of characters, no question. I wouldn't let us in either.
Is that a little San Francisco sourdough there?
Are you eating your butter?
Just a little of it. I'll just work on one patty. You can have the rest.
I think they have more. It's okay. I think the prices are pretty reasonable.
They're not crazy.
When you consider, the location, the overhead.
And it's got the ambiance. I love this.
Simple and seasoned.
Well said. You can hear all the noise around us. We're in a famous grill here in the financial district. We've been hearing the financial district. Well, it's not what it used to be. You come in here on a Monday night, packed. And I'm sitting across from my buddy Richard, and we have cleaned out the San Francisco sourdough and getting another order
With extra butter.
with extra butter. That's a really good sourdough.
Yeah. Imagine in San Francisco.
Let it be noted, he's eaten the equivalent of 2 loaves of sourdough bread.
And counting.
I feel rejected by that Waymo.
You know, we yelled at it and they wouldn't listen. I don't understand. Sounds like marriage.
I'm not even going to tell you what your wife said about you.
I'm low maintenance no matter what my wife says.
Maybe I will tell you.
I don't want to hear.
Anyway, we're happy to be here. We're having a few drinks, and we're letting our hair down.
That Pilsner hardly qualifies as letting your hair down, but this, their world-famous old-fashioned. There's a whole lot of bourbon in it.
Does this place in any... thank you very much. Does this place suggest San Francisco?
It suggests old because the floor is hardwood. It's a lot of dark wood around. It has a very New York City feeling, an older feeling because it's on a stained glass.
My final word on Waymo, which started here in San Francisco, is it's way less.
Right. It's way more overrated.
One more comment, and I think this says something about the people here in San Francisco. That Waymo stopped in the middle of this one-lane street.
With no way to get around.
And waited, and we came over, and we couldn't get in the car. It was locked. And we banged, and we banged. And the cars piled up behind the Waymo, and nobody beeped, nobody cursed us. And this went on, I would say 5 minutes we were out there banging.
And New Yorkers would have murdered us back then.
The baseball bats would have come out.
They'd have been locked and loaded.
And when the Waymo finally took off, without us, those San Franciscans, they drove past us, waved, smiled.
Or maybe they were laughing at us.
One more thing.
Keep right on going. I've got my bread.
I've thought about it. I think I might have used the app wrong.
Cheer up, buddy. Made for a better story.
I'm going home to my city by the bay. I left my heart in San Francisco. High on a hill, it calls to me to be where little cable cars climb halfway to the stars.
The Morning Fog. Thank you for listening to our Citizen Arts podcast, Seeking San Francisco. Is the lady by the bay weeping or the target of a hoax? Gratitude and thanks to Stan Green, Richard Platt, and our other explorers and guides. Citizen Arts is a not-for-profit 501c3 educational organization that seeks to present constructive, compelling information, ideas, and opinions about important civic, social, and cultural matters. We welcome your feedback. Dear listeners, please stay healthy in mind and body, wealthy in goodwill, and wise in action. I'm Jim Gabbe, Citizen Arts founder. Jill Gabbe is executive producer. Jeff Lewis is producer and artistic director.